Do you feel the vibes?
What's up, YouTube? It's Carolina Calvin coming back to you with another video. And welcome to my NFL 2017 Week 16 picks. Week 15 went 14-2. Starting Week 16, there were no Thursday games. I think they stopped doing the Thursday games last week. They had the Saturday games, which is why I'm doing this. Because I usually do the video on Saturday, so I'm deciding to do tonight on Friday for the Saturday games, which are at 4:30 and 8:30. Now, the last couple weeks of the season, teams who are still in playoff contention or still have a chance at getting a wild card, possibly winning one of their divisions, or I don't have it pulled up right here about what teams have to do specifically, but I can tell you for teams in the race to possibly get a wild card or attempt to capture that division, their respective division. Now, starting Saturday, if I didn't already say, Week 15 I went 14-2, but starting with the Saturday games, Indianapolis Colts head to Baltimore to play the Ravens. Ravens are still pretty much trying to lock up that wild card because at this point they already lost 2 games to the Steelers. I think the Steelers are just too far ahead, so they can't win that division, but they can lock up a wild card. And I got Baltimore winning this one. The defense has played well. Offense has played a little bit better, but they've kind of been a team that kind of hung around throughout the season. Haven't played great. Had some ugly losses, but they've won just enough, and the schedule was easy enough for them. They play the Browns twice a year, so those are 2 easy wins. But I got the Baltimore winning at home on Saturday to pretty much start out Week 16. The Saturday night game, the Minnesota Vikings head to Green Bay to play the Packers. The Packers lost to the Panthers last week, pretty much eliminated them from playoffs. I believe they're at 7-7. And I'm pretty sure they don't have a chance to get a wild card because, the Lions, they don't really have a chance. So I believe they're going to rest Aaron Rodgers. And the Vikings still have something to play for. They still have a chance at home field advantage if the Eagles lose and they can win. And they still got to hold off New Orleans. They still have to hold off the St. Louis Rams, Panthers, because the Panthers have a chance at their division and possibly getting a first-round bye. So that first-round bye, home field advantage, and it's what you really like coming into the end of the season, where all that's still up for grabs in both conferences. But I got Minnesota winning in that one. Starting with the Sunday games, Cleveland Browns head to Chicago play the Bears. I got the Bears. I'm not picking Cleveland. There's no way. Both teams obviously are completely eliminated from the playoffs. We both know that. And I like Trubisky. I like the way the defense for Chicago's been playing. They got to get John Fox out of there. So I guess Bear fans maybe want them to lose to Cleveland, because losing to a team that hasn't won a game all season is pretty much grounds for firing any coach. So, but even still with that, I got the Bears winning. I just don't see them losing to Cleveland. Next game, Detroit Lions head to Cincinnati play the Bengals. Lions are still, they still have a chance at that wild card. The division's been locked up by the Vikings pretty much, but the Lions still do have a chance at the wild card. So I'm going to pick the Lions. I know they want to get rid of Caldwell, MG for sure. He wants to get rid of that bum, rightfully so. But I got the Lions beating Cincinnati. Next game, Los Angeles Rams had Tennessee to play the Titans. The Rams just beat down the Seahawks, pretty much just getting them that much closer to winning that division. And also, they can possibly play for that first round bye. I'm not entirely sure about the home field advantage, if they can get that. But I know they can get they have a chance of getting that first round bye. They need the Vikings to lose. They need the Eagles to lose to possibly get that. But I got the Rams beating Tennessee. Tennessee is another team who's playing for that wild card. They can't pretty much win that division just because, Jacksonville pretty much has that on lock. But they do have a chance of getting a wild card. Next game, Miami Dolphins head to Kansas City to play the Chiefs. The Dolphins are pretty much done. For the Chiefs, that division hasn't been good this season. And they do have the Chargers breathing down their neck, although they beat them in the last meeting. So if they win out, they can win that division essentially. But even if they don't, they still have a chance at the wild card. But I got that feeling they're going to win out. The Dolphins don't play well on the road. And the Chiefs' running game starting to get back together. So maybe they can pick it up as the season comes to an end. So I got the Chiefs winning this one. Next game, the Buffalo Bills head to New England, play the Patriots. I believe the Bills still have a chance at a wild card. But it's definitely really tough in terms of AFC. It's top heavy. You got the top heavy teams. Then you got like the bottom teams kind of like trying to vie for that wild card. Your top teams, Patriots, of course, Steelers, and Jacksonville Jaguars. Then you got everyone else. But I got New England winning this one because New England still has something to play for. They still have Jacksonville breathing down the neck for possibly that first round bye or home field advantage. Still got the Steelers, despite them beating them, but Patriots can't afford to drop any games, especially if the Steelers are winning. So they still have something to play for. They can pretty much lock up the home field advantage. Next game, Atlanta Falcons head to New Orleans to play the Saints. New Orleans still have, they still have a chance of getting the first round bye, and they still have Carolina breathing down their neck. They may be two up on Carolina, but Carolina's right there. If New Orleans loses, Carolina can possibly go in there and steal that division, and possibly get that first round bye. Atlanta could possibly win the division because if they win this game, but they would have to win. They would have to also beat the Panthers to get the lead in the division. I believe the Falcons are 9-5. I want to say. New Orleans Saints are 10-4, and the Falcons already beat them in the first meeting. This meeting makes it that much more important. Of course, the Week 17 against the Panthers, that makes that game really important. But if not, Atlanta still has a really good chance of getting that wild card just because they're up on Seattle, and their record is better than the other teams. The other teams are 8-6, they're 9-5, so they could win out. If they win out, I believe they will win that division. I think they would need New Orleans to lose their last game. But this is all without looking at it. Next game, Los Angeles Chargers head to New York to play the Jets. The Chargers would need help. They would need Kansas City to lose, and they would have to win out. I believe they would need Kansas City to lose their next two, and they would have to win out to win that division, which hasn't been great. But they also have a chance at the wild card. But I think they would still need teams like Baltimore, teams like Tennessee, Buffalo. They would need those teams to lose to get that wild card spot because they're 7-7. I want to say, yeah. Jets are pretty much done. Once Josh McCown went out, the offense was terrible. And that's one thing you can say about the Jets all season. The offense was they were able to move the ball. Josh McCown had one of his best seasons of his career. But once he went out with the injury, they weren't able to move the ball. And they were on a team that they didn't have a bunch of talent, especially on the defensive side, so they weren't going to go really far. But I do have the Chargers winning this one. Next game, Denver Broncos head to Washington, play Redskins. Battle two teams is not going to make the playoffs. That NFC is way too tough. And Redskins, they lost some ugly games. Denver, they've been terrible. They've been terrible on both sides of the football, especially at quarterback. So looking into the draft, I wouldn't be surprised if they try to drop these last two games to get better positioning in the draft to get them a quarterback, because that's what they need. The three quarterbacks they've tried this season just hasn't worked. Every now and then the guys have a decent game. For the most part, they've been terrible. But this is one of the games at Washington. They'll have a game where they'll inflate the numbers. I got Washington in this game at home because it's a perfect meaningless game for them to win. Next game, the last of the Sunday 1:00 games. Tampa Bay Buccaneers head to Carolina to play the Panthers. Big game for the Panthers. Tampa Bay could play spoilers. The Panthers need to win this game. all those teams trying to get that wild card. You have a chance, if New Orleans loses. You already won up on Atlanta, of course, with a very important Week 17 game. But you could possibly win that division. You have a chance at a first round bye just because, you need Minnesota to also lose. But you do have the tiebreaker over Minnesota. So you have a chance at that, not only winning the division, but also getting first round bye. So very important game by the Carolina Panthers. They need to win this game. I got the Panthers at home against a not so good Tampa Bay team. Mediocre defense. No, not mediocre. Bad defense. And it's just a team, they have the offensive talent. Just Jameis Winston's been in and out of the lineup throughout the season and never really able to get a consistent rhythm throughout the season with some of his weapons. So I got Carolina winning this one. And start of the 4 o'clock games, Jacksonville Jaguars head to San Francisco, play the 49ers. Jimmy Garoppolo, he is the future quarterback for that team. He's looked great. You see his decision making, how fast he's getting rid of the ball. He's the future for that team. Once they get some talent around him and improve that defense, that team could be really good. And I could see them go. And now they made it was an amazing trade for them. They gave up nothing to get him. And now you don't have to go into the draft looking for a quarterback. You can, you go in, you can get him a receiver. Because your record's so bad, you're going to have a high pick. You get him a receiver. That's why I think they should really go. Receiver, offensive lineman. It just all depends on which position has the greatest amount of talent coming into the draft. But they can do a lot. This week, they're playing Jacksonville. I don't see Jimmy G playing that well against Jacksonville, one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in football. AJ Boye, Jalen Ramsey, up front, Malik Jackson, Calais Campbell, linebacker plus Lusney, Telvin Smith. Those guys are animals. The ones people recently just started talking about just because how great that defense has been playing. Blake Bortles, I trashed him, but he's played good this season. Kind of the confidence like, okay, we got this kind of defense. But he's making great throws, like on a dime. Throws you haven't seen him make throughout his career. Maybe it's a confidence thing, whatever, but he's been playing great. Can't fault him. They've been blowing out teams. I got Jacksonville beating San Francisco. I just don't see San Francisco being able to do much against them. The big question coming in for Jacksonville is the health of Fournette. Outside of, can you really trust Blake Bortles in a playoff scenario against a Pittsburgh team, against a Patriots team? I know they beat Pittsburgh earlier this season, but the playoffs is different. Playoffs are much different. But Jacksonville has a chance to possibly get home field advantage. They need Pittsburgh. They need New England to lose. They do have the tiebreaker over Pittsburgh, so they have a chance at getting home field or first round bye if Pittsburgh loses, and of course they win. The Arizona loss was a bad loss earlier on in the season. But like I said, I got Jacksonville winning. Next game, Seattle Seahawks head to Dallas with the Cowboys. Whoever wins this game is eliminated. Whoever loses this game is eliminated from the playoffs. Seattle, they played bad last couple of weeks. They got destroyed by the Rams. And this is a Dallas team who's going to get Ezekiel Elliott back. We'll have to see how good his conditioning is in a live game. They say they stayed in shape. But it's a difference when you've been out, this amount of time. You got to come back in. You got to play a very, very important game of the season. I got Dallas winning. I think Seattle's going to keep it close just because Russell Wilson, he has to do so much for that team. But that Seattle defense, with all the injuries to the secondary, then you look up front, the guys in the front four haven't played up to their talent level. Bobby Wagner's coming in hurt. He didn't look too good last week against the Rams. I got Dallas winning at home and pretty much eliminating the Seattle Seahawks. Next game, New York Giants head to Arizona play the Cardinals. Game doesn't really matter. I'm going to pick the Giants. I believe Drew Stanton's going to be starting quarterback. Blaine Gabbert got benched. Can't trust him. Give me the Giants. And the Monday night game, the two games. Pittsburgh Steelers had to Houston play the Texans. I believe the Texans are pretty much eliminated. And I kind of felt that I kind of wish Deshaun Watson would have been able to play throughout the season. It would have been very exciting to watch just to see how that team, because they were putting up points when he was in there. They were putting up points. Pittsburgh come off ugly loss to New England. It's ugly. Which again, that was the game they really needed to win to get that home field advantage. Well, that's to say if they went out, but they would have had that opportunity. Now they need the Patriots to lose, which good luck with that. I got Pittsburgh beating Houston. TJ Yates, don't trust him. So give me the Steelers. No AB, but he'll be back in the playoffs, I believe. I'm going to pick the Steelers. And last of the Monday night games, Oakland Raiders had to Philly to play the Eagles. Philly gave up a lot of points to the Giants. I would put that as kind of being a trap game. Giants weren't the favorites. The Eagles were the favorites, even despite the injury to Carson Wentz. Nick Foles is a guy who knows the offense. You saw the day that he ended up having, like he never left. Oakland, they had that game. They were right there in it against the Cowboys, which would have pretty much ruined the Cowboys' playoff chances. I got Philly winning at home. Just going to bring them a step closer to pretty much locking up home field advantage. I'm not entirely sure if they lock it up in the next game, but I'm pretty sure it puts them really close to doing so. So give me the Eagles winning at home with Nick Foles. I think the defense is going to look a lot better. I think that was just a game where it's a division rival. It was kind of the trap game, and the Giants were just able to, guys were able to step up. That's happened to pretty much every team this season. But that was it. I'm still planning on doing the MVP video, of course, before the season ends out. But that video, of course, will come a little bit later. If you've done all your picks, let me know down in the comment section your game of the week. Like this video, hit that thumbs up button, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.